G'day and welcome to the first training report on My Blue Heaven in season 2024. It's January the 19th, it's Friday, it's afternoon now. It's been a really coolish but perfect morning to train at Princes Park. I'm actually on oval number 1 out the front. We've all been booted out. I'm not going to go into that. It really does grind my gears, but before we knew it, we had security guards ushering 2,000 supporters out of the ground just like that. I wanted to do the report inside the ground, but I'm actually on oval number 1 here at Princes Park. And I'll just go around. There's the great Brett Delidio just running down there. And he's actually out here doing a one-on-one session with, it looks like a Coates Talent League kid, maybe part of the AFL Academy, I'm not quite sure. So let's have a look at this. He's gone around a few cones. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. We'll keep an eye on him. Anyway, great session. I got here quite early. Players didn't get on the track until 9:15. There was a massive line. Like, there's so many supporters here. And when, I suppose, you only have these open training sessions once in a blue moon, you're going to get a lot of supporters here, which it was today. But I was here at around about 20:08. I went into the front foyer, as I usually do, grabbed the coffee from the cafeteria, and out of the corner of my eye, I just noticed a bloke sort of wandering around, sort of down the back, and there's Wayne Johnson. That's the Dominator. And no one, there was just a lot of supporters in there who I just don't sort of think recognised who it actually was. So I just took an opportunity to go over to him and say hello, and also ask if I could have a photograph with the great man. And he took me over to the replica lockers which they've got inside the foyer there, and he said, "Do you want a photograph in front of my locker?" I said, "That'd be great, mate." And I put my arm around the great man. And it was I don't know, it was just a great moment, a real highlight of coming down here this morning. It was somewhat sad. It was somewhat sad to see this bloke who was a giant of our football club just wandering around and no one recognised who it was. And this is arguably the best big game player this club has ever produced. And 30 odd years ago, he was out on Princes Park just ruling the roost and dominating games and turning games on their head in third quarters, and he was just a delight to watch. And to get a photograph with him, it was just fantastic. 2.5 hours we or the club trained for this morning. I always enjoy it, I really do, although you get 2,000 supporters through the gates here and they train for nearly 3 hours, and most of these supporters are only here to get the autographs at the end. That's what it feels like. But I love watching the training. I love watching the boys going through their paces. And I'm always thinking now when I'm watching these sessions and the way the group train together, that this is their job. And footy's been professional for such a long time now, but it's so well planned and so well structured, and there's so many coaches out there, and they stop and they go over and they got whiteboards up, and it's almost like they're having these little mini meetings and little conferences within training. It is all so planned, and it's not over the top. There's not players jumping out of their skin. This is their work. This is their workplace. And it's like any work a workplace, you know, like sometimes you rock up to work, you don't feel like you want to be there. You know, we just expect all these players are coming to work every day and they just, you know, oh fuck, imagine being an AFL footballer. But just imagine it for a second, you've got to come to your workplace every day, and as much as it'd be great to be an AFL footballer and get paid to do that, they're here every day doing pretty much the same thing every day. So yeah, I don't see these training sessions like full on enthusiasm, full on, you know, jumping out of their skin, full on rah. I just see it as them trying to improve, trying to get better in a really sort of professional and structured manner. And some blokes just really present themselves better at this time of year as well. And you get a feeling with some certain guys as well that they might be having a little bit of a down session as well, and they're not feeling it, you know. And one bloke in particular would be Ollie Hollands. Like the first 2 training sessions I came to before Christmas, he was just like a fucking ball of energy. Today's session, he was a little bit more inconspicuous. It was more like he looked a little bit flat. But anyway, let's get on to today's session. They did a lot of match simulation, which was great, and I'll get to that shortly. But these are the guys who I did not see at all, did not train at all, weren't sighted. So, no Jack Martin, no Orazio Fantasia, no Brody Kemp, no Matt Owies, okay? And no Jacob Wiedering, who we know has got that torn calf. All right, he was not sighted either. Did not even come out. Whether they were even at the club, I'm not quite sure. Might have been behind closed door doing some gym work. So didn't see those 5 players. The following players trained away from the main group and did a modified program, mostly sort of light running. Ashton Moyer, Alex Cincotta, who came out early then went inside. Gov ended up training with the main group but did a lot of running to start, and he generally does that. So he does his own sort of modified program at the start of training, then joins in. Nick Newman trained away from the main group, and Sam Durden trained away from the main group as well. And he is potentially one of the replacements in that key position down back for Jacob Wiedering. So he did not train in regards to, did no ball work at all. But the rest of the group were accounted for. I'm going to go through each player from today's session. TDK looks outstanding, looks to be in terrific nick. Will be at this stage, regarding match sim, I would have it a guess, just looking at what they're doing at the moment, that he will be the number 1 ruck. That's the feeling I'm getting. Lemmy's developing as a key forward, still got a long way to go, but has put on some genuine size. My concern with Lemmy is his mobility. EQ, to me, looks a long way off the pace as a key defender, but he's tall and he is agile. But to me, he's not a footballer. Jackson Binns was a little bit quieter in this session, and his ball use was a little bit down. Matthew Cottrell has his left knee strapped at the moment. Not quite sure if he's carrying an injury, but he did the whole session. Pretty much in match sim as a small forward. Harry looks really good. Elijah Hollands looks good. He's continuing on from his good sort of training pre-Christmas. Boyd looks in terrific nick, doing a lot of the kickings from full back. Lewis Young looked superb down back, particularly with his spoiling. He will play in the replacement at this stage of Jacob Wiedering if he doesn't get up for the early rounds of the season. Marchbank uses a key position down back with Lewis Young. Pencil that in, looks fit and strong. Hewitt looks fit and strong through the midfield. Murkoff, good to see him back after his heart concerned. Can't mark though, just cannot mark. He's a man-mountain of a boy, but cannot mark. Patrick Cripps got more tape on him than Moss Trooper. Knee taped, shoulder taped, which is a bit of a concern, I reckon. Fogarty trained okay. Pitnet looks really strong. Doc trained well. Sard trained well. Motlop was in and out. Rob Monaghan, the Irishman, is super impressive. He is super impressive as a power athlete, particularly smart and picking up the game really quickly in what I can see, the Irishman. Zach Williams, great to see him back, moving really well. Walsh, as he usually is, was in everything. Silvani trained well again. Cowan, who did nothing pre-Christmas, trained exceptionally well as a mobile defender. Matthew Kennedy looked great on the track. Charlie, good. Billy Wilson, our draftee, looked really good as well on the track. I thought Jack Carroll actually trained really, really well. Hit the scoreboard a couple of times in match sim. Ball use, a little bit suspect at times. Adam Chera, okay. Ollie Hollins, as I mentioned, a little bit down. Great to see Blake Acres look good after having shoulder surgery. Hudson O'Keefe developing really well as a future ruckman, quite mobile. Needs to build up his frame though. Matt Carroll did a little bit of training, another draftee. Corey Durden got better as the session went on. So that was just some of the players individually. As far as the early match sim was, what I'll do, guys, because I've actually recorded so much highlights, I will split this. I'll do a report and then I'll put the highlights on later on a separate video. But we got an indication of what the forward line would look like in regards to Harry, Charlie, Jack Silvani. We had down there at times, we had Elijah Hollins and Motlop and Cottrell. Cottrell's the interesting one. We seem to have the wings pretty much sorted at the moment with, you know, a combination of Acres, Doc, and also Ollie Hollins and Binns and Acres, which means Cottrell looks like he might play as that small pressure forward. And the defence looks pretty much settled without Jacob Wiedering as well. Marchbank and Lewis Young as your talls, then you're floating Mitch McGovern with a combination of Smalls, Boyd, Cincotta didn't train, but Sard and Williams as well. Anyway, that's a bit of a wrap from today's training session down here at Princes Park. Hope you're as well. Thumbs up if you like this, and also subscribe if you like it as well. What I'll do is I'll put up a separate video with all the training highlights. Take care.